the first people to come here. Okay. People have been coming here for around 200 generations. Okay. If we look down here, would anyone like to guess what this is? Any guesses? Who said cross? Well, it's not a cross. Okay. This is 1,500 years older than Christianity. This is a carving made during the Bronze Age. So this was put up at the very end of the Stone Age, the end of the Neolithic, around 2500 BC. And then at around that time, a new population was moving to Britain, bringing metalworking. So what we see here is a depiction of a bronze tool or weapon. Okay? We have a handle, a hilt, and a blade. So that's a dagger. Next to it, we have the head of an axe. So there's the curve of the blade, the bit that slots into a handle. So again, tools made of early metal. Okay. People were still coming here centuries after this was put up and wanted to leave their marks on the stones. We can see these two most visibly, but in 2011 they scanned all of the stones with lasers. And they reveal all of these other lost or hardly recognisable carvings. So you can see all of these remnants. On this stone there's about 40, but including 3 over there, 1 over there, we have about 115 prehistoric artworks. They're incredibly rare to have in this country. The only other context we find them in are in barrows. If you look into the landscape, all around us, can you see these mounds of earth? So these are Bronze Age barrows. These are the graves of people who came after this was built. The only other place we find those carvings are in those barrows elsewhere in the country. So maybe these are for funeral reasons. And maybe each one signifies one of the people in those graves. Who knows? Okay? Who knows? But then, if we head back this way, so we'll step back now up to 1,000 years. So as I said, this was put up at the very end of the Stone Age by bringing stones here to an area which has chalk beneath us. Okay? So none of these stones are local to this area. You will have noticed most prominently the large sarsen stones. So these are stones from the other side of the county. Okay, so huge sandstone blocks. You can see they're in the inner part, there's a horseshoe in sets of 3, known as trilithons, from the Greek trilithos, meaning 3 stones. Okay? So 2 upright, 1 across the top. And you can see these go up in ascending height order, culminating with the tallest. But of course, this one here, please no touching. Sorry, please, this one here is collapsed. And you can see it snaps as it's fallen. But of course, it would have stood next to the tallest stone there. This one here would have sat across the top. And if you look at the top, you can see a tenon joint. And that would have slotted into those mortise. There should be a tenon joint here. But because this has been on the ground, over centuries, tourists have worn it away, chipped away, taken souvenirs. Look how square that is. That's a lintel that's been untouched. That one fell on the floor. That's been put back up. That's been walked on for centuries. That's been untouched. The stones behind you, those also make up the lintel that was up there. And only a few centuries of touching have turned those into rounded boulders. So that's how they should look. So there we go. Now then we have one other type of stone. You can see these smaller stones. Now when the monument was put up, those stones were outside or out in the outer part. So when these went up, these stones formed 2 rings out there. And then later, they were brought inside. But now we're left with a horseshoe inside and a ring behind the trilithons. These from Wales, so they've made their way about 140 miles to be here. There's one other type of stone. Underneath, if you look down here, so this one is made of a different stone to all of the other stones on the site. And only as recently as 2024 did we find out where this would have come from. So we now know that this would have made its way here from the far north of Scotland. So that's travelled about 750 kilometres to be here. Now, the immediate area around us would have been an open grass chalk downland, okay? But most of Britain would have been heavily wooded. So trying to bring that here over mountains, through woods, without wheels, without domesticated horses, without a road network, very difficult. So the other possibility is they put it on a raft and floated it down the coast. So that 6-ton stone down there may have made its way here by sea. Now, again, if this stone was upright and this one was across the top, we would have an archway which frames the setting of the sun on the shortest day of the year. So on the shortest day of the year, the sun sets between these stones. On the longest day of the year, the sun rises next to the hillstone in the distance. And this axis is what the entire site is built. So there we go. And so in a few minutes, we'll take those who are interested on the outer part. But for now, off you go, have a look around, and ask for any questions. Thank you.